this is gonna be a different kind of video. My next Edgeworld video hasn't really realised itself in my head, but it is coming soon. But today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and it's something that I care a lot about, and it's the way Google have been handling YouTube. There has been a lot of terrible stuff to come out of YouTube in the past few years, but this newest controversy is one that I think encapsulates everything wrong with the service, and those are the new changes that have been made to comply with COPPA. Now, I am not a lawyer, but I am a creator. I've been making videos on this platform for a little over, nearly 4 years now, and I think that I should have a say as much as the next person. This is a really complex topic, and I can't cover it all in one video, but I've left a pinned comment down below, and I recommend that you read that before making any more comments. So for those who are unaware, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act is a law that was passed by the United States government in 1998, although it was set into motion at the turn of the millennium. The bill was created to protect children. Before the days of smartphones and Facebook, the bill was put in place to prevent under 13s from sharing all of their personal details on shady websites. Over time, it's evolved to involve things like cookies and apps and targeted advertisements, things that are a lot more relevant to an internet going into 2020. And COPPA is a fantastic thing. Of course children should be protected from this sort of stuff. They don't know about targeted advertisements, and they don't know about websites storing all their information the way they do. It's great that this is a thing that is there to protect children. But recently, COPPA has been in the news because Google was sued, more or less. The courts ruled that YouTube hasn't been putting in the proper protections for these 13-year-olds, and they had to pay a fine and crowbar these new systems into their currently existing website. And this has made a lot of people very angry for reasons that we'll get into, but it also seems that a lot of people are misinformed or don't really understand what's going on. A lot of people think that this is some business decision that Google made because they thought it would better their platform, but really they were legally obligated to do this. And though they've made that perfectly clear, you just can't overestimate the IQ of the average YouTube commenter. With all that said, you might think that I am trying to defend YouTube for what has happened, because this really wasn't their fault. But that's where you're wrong, because this is YouTube's fault, because this never should have been a problem. To own a YouTube account, you have to be 13 years old. It says right there in the terms and conditions, to own and use YouTube accounts, you must be 13 years of age. They put that clause in specifically so they didn't have to deal with all that privacy protection stuff. But that didn't stop people from making accounts anyway. Turns out that infinity amount of free entertainment is exactly the sort of thing that 10-year-olds really crave. And it's even better for parents with little kids, in theory. No more spending all that money on Peppa Pig DVDs. You've got every episode for free on the internet 24/7. Of course, in practice, treating YouTube like TV is akin to treating the ocean like a paddling pool. But that's a whole other story. And it's not like YouTube didn't know this. Someone in the company must have worked out long ago that there weren't 680 million adults coming to the website to watch bath song and more nursery rhymes for kids. So they obviously knew what was going on, but they didn't do anything about it. They could have said no. Years ago they should have said, hey parents, it's not a good idea to be leaving your toddlers unattended on this website. They should have made a press release. They should have stopped all these new toddler videos from being uploaded in the first place. But they didn't. It's so easy to blame parents for all of this. They make the perfect scapegoat for angry teens who think that you should have grown up with the internet to be allowed to use it, and these people shouldn't dictate what we have to do. But when you really think about it, how can parents be to blame when YouTube didn't tell tell them. Of course, they shouldn't be leaving little toddlers unattended on the internet, but YouTube didn't do anything to stop them. Yeah, there is the clause which says you have to be above the age of 13 to own a YouTube account. Of course, these parents are over the age of 13. But then they go onto the website and it's filled with all these hour-long videos made for kids. Why wouldn't you just assume that this is the perfect platform for your child's entertainment? And they don't all know how the system works. Why wouldn't clicking on a Peppa Pig video made by the official Peppa Pig YouTube channel continue autoplaying to other Peppa Pig videos? That thing is obvious to you or me. Not so obvious for the overworked, under-informed single parent who just wants their kid to enjoy their favourite TV show. YouTube could have made it perfectly clear, but they didn't. Don't blame the parent who can't swim for trusting the lifeguard. Blame the lifeguard for falling asleep on duty. YouTube did make a new app, and that was the step in the right direction. They created YouTube Kids, which was designed from the ground up to include all the proper protections for toddlers. But that's all they did. They could have gone to all the creators and said, hey, you kids creators, it's not a good idea to be uploading to our main platform. There's a lot of stuff that you don't want to expose toddlers to. But we do have this other thing which you should start using. You can still get paid, of course, but it'll have the proper safeguarding in place to protect your audience. But they just let companies continue uploading videos to full fat YouTube. I guess the biggest advertising company in the world can't miss out on those sweet, sweet advertising dollars. So Google's years of law breaking finally caught up to them earlier this year, and a couple weeks ago they released a video detailing all the new changes that would be made. We weren't told about this, by the way, us creators. There was no email, no push notification or anything like that. I found out through a tweet. The most that YouTube ever showed me was this small banner at the top of the YouTube studio, and it wasn't even the first one they showed me. So these changes basically say that we need to mark each new video that we upload as made for kids or not made for kids, and we need to do the same for every video in our back catalogue. And if we mark it as the former, a few changes will be made, but the big ones are that the video won't have comments, it can't have end screens, it can't be added to watch later for some goddamn reason, and there will be no personalised advertisements on the video, which means it will probably be making a lot less money. But here's the real kicker. YouTube can decide whether or not you've marked it correctly or incorrectly, and they can set it for you at any time on any of your videos without telling you and without your permission. So for those who are a little bit lost, because Google decided that its own rules didn't apply to it, it is now using machine learning to decide which videos to show to toddlers on a website that should never ever 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 have been used by anyone under the age of 13. And it's machine learning, it won't be accurate. At best, it will kill the growth of an up-and-coming independent creator. And at worst, it will end up showing things like South Park to 12-year-olds. You know it's going to happen sometime. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Remember the adpocalypse a couple years ago? When advertisers realised that, hey, there's some mature stuff on the internet, we don't want to advertise with YouTube anymore until you get rid of it. So Google had to not let creators monetize anything which could even slightly be deemed mature. So new creators had to censor all their new videos just so that they could make them more child-friendly. Hang on a minute. Creators are at the mercy of the algorithm. Sure, they can try and set their videos correctly, and the algorithm is supposed to be there to prevent any mistakes or bad actors, but the system gets it wrong. And when it gets it wrong, people get angry. Every month, YouTube sends me a little bit of money. It's not a lot of money, but it's nice to get paid for what I do. I spend a lot of time on it, and it's something that I enjoy doing. But the only reason I stay loyal with YouTube, and I'm very grateful that I've got a platform like this, and I know that I am squaring off with the tiger when I say this, it's been increasingly obvious in recent years that YouTube doesn't really care about its creators, and at least it doesn't show that it cares. And the only reason that I stay loyal with YouTube is because there's nowhere else to go. Sure, there are other free short forms video streaming platforms, but none of them can hold a candle to what YouTube offers as a web service. Not in terms of design, not in terms of users, not in terms of platform support, and definitely not in the amount that it pays creators. To give Google credit, besides all the terrible business stuff, they made a pretty good web service. But you can't separate the business stuff. And the sad truth is that Google owns a monopoly on this type of website. But it won't forever. Someday another business will come along. It might be next week, it might be in 2 years' time, but another business will come along with the power to rival what Google offers, with the ability to pay creators the way that Google does, and the respect for its users that Google doesn't. I cannot wait for the day when YouTube faces competition that cares about its users, that cares about its creators. And when that rival does come along, I will be happy to move all my stuff there and make it my primary platform. And I don't see myself ever looking back.